Wine like a genie, go to Nisha. Sexy, sexy senorita.
Roll up, blummer. JC, Anna. Used to make me
I'm an N9 classic, man, touch me, firearms get brandished. Jewels on the up block when I drive past, cause it ain't that active. My young thugs still go over there, don't care about internal affairs. Gotta say real niggas are here, so I guess I'm the man of the year.
They cannot attack me, run up on who and get left on the backseat. Hoes tech wouldn't get put in a taxi. Galaxy. Front line like Yannick Balassi. Bad man, a bad man, please don't mad me. One man alone, make guys drop panty. Mazza, Shah, they want sight me.
We went 1-1, now our paper's long. When it ain't shit for us to cop hammers, we don't wanna have to get the U1.
Wine like a genie, go to Nisha. I think I smoke more than Wiz Khalifa. She wants to get wild, she wants tequila. Sexy, sexy senorita.
Leg it, Olympic ting. Leg it. When they see me, they're jetting. Me, I put holes in denim. One of my friends are denim.
Good in that, grab on the hair, I'm pulling that. Big batty ripple effect, she's looking back.
Slim butter back is thick and that. You look good in that.
Jewelry holes and ganja smoke.
The car, they broke, they all provoked.
Gearing up and staying low. Don't want no sheep, she wants to go.
Yo, I'ma see how well this works. I don't know. I've had a bunch of realizations the last few days, and basically I realized that I like the struggle of trying to explain things to people, and that it's not as daunting as I originally thought it was. I almost see it as like a sparring, like a battle, almost as a challenge, you know, that I can actually handle and take on, and I invite it now. And the thing is, I want to find all the different areas of my life that I can do that in, and I think that is not what it is. That is self-improvement itself, but it's a very important aspect of self-improvement that we're not really, I think is really missing. Nobody's really explaining the process of being in the trenches and battling the actual thing, like the action of it, you know, practicing the mental sparring with the thing that is very daunting to you. So working out is like level 1 of that, and you're about to see me do it right now. I'll probably put up a picture. It is like a screenshot that I took of a I'd still up against it. It is a picture of something that of my notes specifically on mindset, and it's like just a clip of me working out, and there's a title, and the title says, "This is what doing the work looks like," and this translates into like every single area and aspect of life. This is what doing the work looks like. This right here is what doing the work looks like. Me talking to the camera is what doing the work looks like. There's a man who's doing laps around this park, and when he sees me talking at this camera, it's gonna be a little bit cringe. It is what it is, though, you know. Okay, now he kept talking, he's not coming in. But yeah, this is what doing the work looks like. And now I'm about to do the work right now. I'm gonna start off with support hold for 15 seconds on the gymnastic rings. So, let's start that. I haven't done the gymnastic rings for a month now. It's been 28 days. So, the last time I was here was around, it's the 26th, so it's the day after Christmas. So basically the last day I was here was probably the 26th of November. Maybe not that day exactly, but yo, you get my point. Sometime around this time last month. Yo, what's going on, bro? So I'm not even gonna lie, I just wanted to make a really quick rant video about what I'm seeing in the space of just African history. And honestly, I haven't been uploading for a minute, but I've been in my Discourse server for a very long time, and I think being there and being able to talk with you guys, you know, being able to talk with people like you who is watching the video right now, and getting to see what your questions are and what your interests are and what you think of what's going on in the African history space. Like, I've gotten to know you guys a lot. I've gotten to know you a lot better. I've gotten to know what's going on, what people are saying, because I've basically like entered the space again as like a consumer, right? It's very like a few months ago when I was making all these Egyptians were black anti like Hotep videos, right? I was, you know what? I was still very, very much in touch with what was going on, but in the meantime, between that, I've spent some time going into like other Discord servers other than mine of other creators who you probably do know if you're into the space of just African history and whatever, right? Ethnicity, history, culture. I've explored, bro. I've went around the block. I've seen what people are like, and I don't say that to mean that I know every single detail about everything, but I kind of have a feel for what different types of people think and how people see different things, you know. And I think I've become way more well-rounded, and I say all that to say this. It genuinely sucks, but it shocks me how little we all know. Like, all people, whether you're Afrocentrist, Eurocentrist, you're a Somali nationalist, you're whatever, right? Myself included, how little people actually know about Africa. Because the thing is, whenever we have certain things like Somalis aren't black, Horn Africans look like this, Khoisan people aren't black, this group of people is black, you know, like just genuine stuff like that, right? Afrocentrism, whatever it is, a lot of it just comes from a lack of knowledge about African people and African history. And the thing is, if you taught people the very basics of African history, or just not even African history, just the African peopling, I think most of the problems that exist today wouldn't exist. The problems would be different, and they would actually be genuine higher level problems. So, for example, I think people inside of my own Discord server, and I'm not saying this to like spit on my own dick or anything like this, right? But the problems that we talk about, like, we do still have those conversations where like, you know, that are just kind of like average, where we know what I mean. Like, I don't know what to describe as average to most people, right? But like, instead of there's like, you could have the conversations where like, is this group black or not? Is this group of people trying to hide our ancient hidden history or anything like that? Instead of talking about that, we're talking about how we want more DNA samples because we want to know more about the spread of, you know, whatever group, right? Fill in the blank group. Because we kind of understand, right? And the thing is, here's something that after me being in this history space for a while, this is something that I've noticed, is that if you want to gain a good foundation, I won't say shortcut, but a good foundation about African people, African history, and how things just kind of work, right? I would learn these two things, which are language groups and population genetics, specifically for modern day populations and also understanding ancient populations. Those two things, and as well as archaeology, I would say archaeology as well. You learn the basics of these three disciplines, and you will be solid, because from that moving forward, you actually have a genuine understanding of these three things, right? And you don't have to be the smartest guy. I don't claim to be the smartest guy. I don't know everything about archaeology. I don't know everything about genetics, and I don't know everything about linguistics, but I understand it on a very basic level, and I'm able to use that whenever I am looking into African history, whenever I'm looking into certain kingdoms, certain events, certain groups and people. I know what I'm looking for. I have a more general, I already have some sort of level of understanding about them just because I know about the different language groups, like the Niger-Congo language group. I know about the Bantu expansion, which people actually believe is a racist theory, and whatever. I know about the Nilotic expansions. I know about the Cushitic expansions. I know about the Afro-Asiatic expansions of languages like Berber, and you know, fill in the blank, right? I actually have some level of understanding, and I can also connect this to DNA studies that I've read and DNA samples that I've looked at, and then I've also been able to connect it with archaeology because I've been able to read a few papers and kind of understand. This is why I'm always talking about the origins of Nilotic and whatever. Understanding that has helped me across many different fields in African history, because the things that I have to learn in order to be able to learn about the history of the Nilotic peoples, the history of this people, these are the same skills that you can use and apply to learn about not even just Africans, but even the world at large. If you know about language families and how they work, you can read a short little article about, you know, the spread of the Indo-European languages, or the whatever other languages that exist out there, right, in Asia, and you'll kind of have like a basic understanding of it. And the thing is, a lot of people in the space of African history studies, they either don't know about it, about like the African expansions of different African ethno-linguistic groups. They either don't know about it, or they think it's racist, or they don't really stress that enough. They don't really focus on it enough as much as they really should. And I think and that thing itself is the reason why there's so much misunderstanding and confusion. Once you are able to understand about food producing, people doing agriculture, and these are archaeological terms and I guess anthropology terms, right? If you're able to understand those basic levels, you'll be able to talk about kingdoms and empires, and you'll be able to explain why certain areas of Africa might be more developed than the other, or might not be as developed in other regions. You'll actually get to understand like the African societies for what they are, from an actual anthropological perspective, from a scholarly perspective, right? And I don't want to say all these big words to act like I'm big and smart or whatever, like I'm this big smart guy. I'm still a guy who barely knows anything, right? But as someone who's done his time, that's what I would, and I'm pretty sure most people would agree with me. I think most people would agree with me. And the problem is, most people, they come into this space, and instead of seeing videos like this, instead of getting this advice, all right, and I'm like spitting on my own dick here, but like instead of getting this advice, they're seeing our hidden legacy, people like forbidden knowledge or Imhotep, like that's what they're seeing, and they're not really learning history, or just they're not really learning about the continent from like an actual scholarly perspective. They're really learning about it from like a very ideological perspective. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist within learning about language groups. I'm sure like there's gonna be a few people typing very mad at me saying, but it's all influenced by Eurocentric thinking, whatever, right? But nonetheless, these things are real things that exist, and you can demonstrate it. That's the thing that people always kind of tend to forget and ignore. But yeah, I mean, with all that being said though, one thing we have to know is that these things that I've mentioned, the archaeology in Africa, the ethno-linguistic groups, DNA studies, Africa is actually probably the least, or one of the least studied places for these things. And we could see that as a bad thing, but I see that as sort of a place for opportunity, because we are the pioneers. I feel like I am a pioneer in like researching the Nilotic languages, because I'm one of the, obviously there's people who know more than me, right? There might be somebody out there right now who knows more about it, who can humble me, right? But for the most part, like I'm like one of the very few people who actually give a fuck about this stuff. So I actually think about this like on a daily basis. I read the papers, I kind of think about like the different theories and how they go together, right? We create we create like the narrative. And the thing is, like, what a lot of scholars say about African languages and African people, expansions, whatever, it's not really set in stone. These are just theories based off speculations, based off of a small amount of evidence. And one thing that I've been able to find out myself is that you can actually not change it to whatever it is that you want. That's not the aim, but you can come to like you can discover new things. You can push forward like the understanding of certain language groups or certain historical events that happen, because if you study them enough, and you develop a sort of way of thinking where you can actually make good arguments, right, and break things down based off of real evidence, and deconstruct things and put them back together, and kind of like you kind of understand how putting theories works, and how putting theories together work, and things like that, right? We as people on the internet, whether you're a part of that diaspora, whether you're like a first generation like me, especially if you're a first generation, I think we have a burning interest to figure out what has happened in Africa over the last few years, over the last few centuries, just in history in general, because we want to know more about the history of our people. And that's a good thing, because it's a good thing. It's a good thing because you get what I mean. It's a good thing that we want to figure these things out, and that we're actually interested in. We actually care about it, and so we actually have like influence on. We can actually make a genuine impact on it, we are the ones who are going to be making like the theories that, you know, are going to be like accepted in the future. We're the ones who are going to, you know, that is that classic message, right? It's you, the guy who right now, you might be from like an unknown, understudied like ethnic group, like your ethnic group. If you go and you search up a Wikipedia, the Wikipedia page, you're not happy with it. there's like one paragraph about like the whole ethnic group, and it's just like they speak these languages, this is their population, and like, you know, they live in this country, and you know, like that, like that's the situation that I think of most people, or a lot of people are in. And there's not really a lot of stuff that's generally known, and so it's kind of our duty to kind of uncover and discover what has gone, you know, what is the history of Africa, what is the history of our people, what has really been going on, what is our background, why are we in the situations that we are in today. And this is something I learned from Jordan Peterson, is that, you know, your past is something you don't want to lie about, and it's something you don't want to be lied to about. And I'm not trying to go the Hotep route, but if you have the wrong map based off the wrong past, obviously that map, like, because you use the past as sort of like a map, you know, to lead you to the future. And if you have the wrong map because you got the past wrong, you're gonna get the future wrong. You understand what I'm trying to say here. So it's really important that we do find the genuine truth of what exactly were African people doing, what exactly led to the situations that we are in today, what led to the way we developed today, how advanced were we actually, you know? Because Africa had empires. Africa did have empires, but we also had tribesmen. We also had hunter-gatherers. We had, I think Africa had the whole range of things, right? From the southern capes all the way up to the Mediterranean coast in North Africa. So it's really, and then on top of that as well, I mean, you've probably heard this a million times, right? It's literally the continent where human life has begun. So to think that there's nothing of value to discover, to find in Africa, I think it's very foolish to think so. And I'll give you guys my final thought. One thing that I've been thinking about for a while, and that I've mentioned to the people inside of my Discord server, my friends and comrades inside of there, and is that, I don't know if I've told you guys this, but I think the big major 3 language families in Africa, Nilo-Saharan, Niger-Congo, Afro-Asiatic, they have origins in the top part of Africa, you know, the Green Sahara. And so I really do think that researching about the Green Sahara and the area where food producing, so for those who don't know, basically the development of things like agriculture and pastoralism and etc., where that happened in Africa, it's very, very important to research these areas, because these places are very, very, Green Sahara is very, very influential, and the Green Sahara is already a very, very popular topic. And I think if you, as an African, you look into that, even if you're not from any of these 3 language families, I think understanding that Green Sahara, I think it will help you a lot in understanding the history of Africa as a continent. But yeah, that was basically my little yap. Was that even a yapping, ranting video? If you like to watch videos from a young guy who just likes to, I don't even want to consider myself a history YouTuber anymore, honestly. I still want to make history videos. I'm still making history videos, but I'm just gonna explore a little bit more. But if you wanna, yeah, you know, my caption, if you wanna watch videos from a young guy who's just exploring his interest, please hit the subscribe button, and you can also join my Discord server. It'll be the first link down below. Peace out, bro.